A very good evening to you and welcome to the Predator Euro Tour Turkey Open Live. We are coming to you from the Miracle Resort Hotel in Antalya, Turkey. The game is 8-ball and our next match is a losers round 4 clash between Jakubas Slavencheves and Robin Haig Pettersson. It's a race to 7, alternate break every 2 breaks. There is a 35-second shot clock. It's called shot. I'm Mark White, and calling the shots in the box with me is Arya Sarabi. Hi, Arya.
Hi, Mark. Lovely intro. Looking forward to this one. That's all I can say. 2 young sharks. And, well, do we have a favorite for this one?
Well, I saw Jakubas play in his first match on this table back in the European Championships, and he looked very, very nervous. But of course now he's not a rookie anymore. He's had experience on this table. So let's see how it goes. Ball down. Arya.
Yeah, in the first round, I think I was doing commentary in the EuroTour with Gethin, one of our colleagues, and he played a Polish gentleman. I'll have to look up his name. I know his first name is Marius. And basically the storyline in that match was, in the first rack, both players had numerous chances. Well, the first 2 racks, actually. And after that, the Polish man just, played an absolute clinic. Never missed a shot. And that became the biggest difference. 1 break on a serve, no mistakes. And then next thing you know, he's running away with the match with 7-1 scoreline.
Wow.
And of course, Jakubas is more than capable to do that himself. But, like I said, and you've mentioned this as well on numerous occasions, can you cut out those silly errors?
Yeah, it's a hard game anyway. Break-wise, very important to make a ball in 8-ball. And then, of course, you've got to eliminate those unforced errors. If you can do that, you've got a good chance of winning the match. Well, that's one problem gone.
Yeah, nicely navigated. 8-ball, not sure whether it goes past the 4-ball. Wouldn't really be a problem, as it clearly does go into the bottom right. Just needs to figure out the last ball to play position on the 8.
Very positive start from Slavencheves.
I was just having a quick look on some of the names we have in the losers round. It is absolutely a murderous row. That's an interesting choice. I thought he could have drawn the cue ball with the 15 around the back of the 10. Chose the slightly more difficult shot, but left himself a perfect angle here to basically play the same type of shot. Come on and off the side rail for the 8 into the same corner pocket. Wants that cue ball to slow down. These are not the type of shots you expect these top players to miss, but they're never easy when you're cueing off the side rail.
Yeah, a pretty tricky run out as well to take the opening rack. Had a couple of little problems to overcome there, but did it very, very well. So the Norwegian 1-0 down. Zelenchevaz with another break to come, of course. We're breaking in blocks of 2, which makes it very, very interesting, especially if you win the lag. You get the first 4 of the 6 breaks, which gives you an advantage to open up a lead. If you can hold your break, of course. Hold your break, you'll have a 4-2 lead after the second lot of breaks. Cueing over the side of his cue, very right-eye dominant, as you could see there. Ardia.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting you start about the mechanics. I was about to address that point, and I know you're a keen, as a commentator, you have a keen eye for solid fundamentals, much like myself. Now, one thing I've picked up on Yokubas, his technique, yes, he's got his very unique style, and it does really go through the ball nicely for me. It does accelerate in the cue ball, but when you have a look, his pause on his backswing is not as consistent as some of the top pros. And I'm not saying this to knock have a knock at him. It's something I've just picked up on. Every once in a while he has a very short pause, or not a pause at all on his backswing. It's something to keep an eye on. And his follow through. Now that 4 ball next to the 15 is, well, I could say pretty congested. I'm just wondering if that pots into the top right corner pocket, the 4. If not, it might have to use the 1 or the 7 to maybe dislodge the 4 and the 15 at some point. Or you can take the 4 right here.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Very confident shot from the Lithuanian. Nicely done. Very confident start. Played the cannon very nicely.
Now, Mark, I've come to know you as someone who's had the pleasure to travel all around the world. Do you have any experience from Lithuania?
Do you know what? I nearly went there so many times. One of my best friends, I lived in Estonia for 8 years, and one of my best friends owned the top restaurant called Pegasus in Tallinn, and they opened a Pegasus. Oh dear, what a miss that is.
Shell-shocked.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I thought I was going to get time to finish my story, but yeah, Vilnius in Lithuania. It's not so far from Estonia. It's kind of Lithuania, Latvia, then Estonia, Latvia, then Lithuania, the Baltic region. And I got invited to Vilnius so many times, but I never ever got there in 8 years, believe it or not. But I'm told it's very much like Tallinn, kind of medieval. So first time we see Robin Hug Pettersson.
He's got a much more conventional cue action. Very compact. That cue ball's just stopped in time.
Oof.
Now to simplify things, he can play here a little stun, maybe even a stun draw. Leave himself high on the 10 to go up the table for the 12. And he's trying to go a bit more forward. I mean, he can also play position for the 12 into the side, but we've seen multiple players be very reluctant to take these balls into the side pockets. They do play very nippy, Mark.
Yeah, I'd rather take it into the top right as we look, or draw all the way back and play it into the same pocket. That's what he's tried for. Oh, he's hooked himself behind the 8 ball. Almost hooked himself on his first shot. Behind the 8 ball. He's done the job this time.
Just to cut him some slack, that shot was on, but you know, in all fairness, he would have probably preferred to be a foot longer than his ideal position than even risk being behind the 8. It's all in the past now, of course. Have a look at that cue ball. That's not all that bad, is it?
No, he's had a result there. Just going back to that shot he played though, when he did hook himself behind the 8, he did have a big space to draw into, didn't he? But underdrew it. Something you can't really afford to do is underdraw that shot. But he's got away with it. Can play the 3 into this bottom corner. An element of safety to it.
I think the only reason he's not on the down on the shot is the position in taking on the pot on the 3 was not guaranteed on the 5. Now, if you had that long pot on the 3, would you go for it or play safe?
I may have gone for it, but with the safety in mind. But looking at it, I think he's played the right shot there, to be honest. But that's why I'm sat here, or one of the reasons I'm talking about it and not doing it.
Should be able to draw his cue ball into the 12 and stop it there, inputting the 3. Yeah, nicely done. He's got numerous options, of course, for the 8 ball.
Made sure he came short. So he does win the first 2 racks off his own breaks. It will be 2 breaks now from Robin Hug Petterson. Let's see if the Norwegian can get himself back into this. And over on table 2, of course, and 3, both of them being streamed. We've got Katarzyna Veleskova up against Kotkin. Very good player. Vevelovska been playing a lot of hayball as well just recently. I actually thought maybe she would be at the Grand Masters, but she's not. She's here at the Euro Tour, which is good to see.
Interesting breaking technique he has, Robin Hauge. He's really compact, like he's pretty down on the shot, like you would take on a normal pot. And of course, we know, to generate power on the break, you could actually use your body put a bit of weight behind the shot.
Yeah, you see, I had this discussion with Eric Hallison earlier on the Mieszko Fortunski match. He was generating so much power, Mieszko, his body at all. It was all the timing through the ball, and his Q-tip was ending up near the middle of the table. So I think that break is kind of old school now with the new balls, the new cloths. I don't think you have to hit them so hard. You know, you used to see Jeff DeLuna's head almost hit the ceiling when he used to break off. Not anymore. A lot of players going for more control now and controlled power. I'm a much bigger fan of that, to be honest. I don't like all this jumping around and moving on the shot, to be honest. And
Yeah, the key word is in the... No, continue, sorry.
No, I forget what I was going to say now. I'm getting old, mate.
Sorry. No, well, the key word in what you said is controlled power.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to do if you keep your body still. You know, and if you're jumping up, you used to see players' cues bending on the table, you know, as they would follow through. But they were following through downwards, not level. And I just think you get a lot more power keeping the cue more level going through the ball. And it's more about the follow through and the timing through the ball than it actually is of brute force, shall we say. Just my opinion.
No, I completely agree. The explanation you just gave there, and you know, that's the beauty of our sport, isn't it? That these players are constantly evolving. Also, you know, the breaking formats keeps changing every other event, which is probably because the nature of the game is when you become at a certain level, running the table is pretty common. So, you know, to guarantee we'll have some sort of a match, not just a break and run showdown, we need to make the breaking format a bit more challenging.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you find that it does take players a little while before they master it. But if you look, especially at the breaking from the box, the players aren't using big power on that break anymore. They're going for control because they know, they get that feeling in the stroke where, because you are staying down and you've got that precision, plus you're staying down, you get to see the result of exactly where you're hitting rather than halfway in the air as the cue ball hits the pack, you know. So you're getting to see the results of your break a little bit more as well. So that makes it easier to adjust also.
Meanwhile, Mark, has he played one of the best positional shots? That was fraught with danger, but, you know, he might just be able to see the putting angle on the 11 here, and with this angle he can easily play position. Have a look at that.
Certainly playing some lovely little shots. He did in the first rack, I remember, where it wasn't guaranteed to run out, and he's pleased with that one, and if I was him I would be as well. And that's one rack he's won against the break of Pettersson. Of course Pettersson has one more to come, but if he can win this one, Jacobus, he will be able to break and get on the hill with his two breaks. Good performance there from Pia Filler, as you see. 5-0 winner. She was on the stream last night. She had a big battle, won it hill against Eylül Kibaroglu. Roman Hebler we had on the TV earlier as well. Comfortable winner in the end. Played pretty well, I thought, Roman Hebler. Keep an eye on the tip. See, look where the tip is. See where the tip
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
past
nearly
the halfway
halfway.
stage.
Not particularly a rope map, but still, you would consider this as a must-get racket, wouldn't you, Mark?
Yeah, if you make a ball, okay, if you're not on the ball first shot, then play safe. But if you are making balls on the break, you'd expect to run out as well. It's kind of an easier game than 9-ball or 10-ball in that respect. You know, you've got choices. You don't have to take them in order. But he has got another problem here. Now, surely has to take the 14 here. He's on it. So why not? Or maybe he isn't. Going to have to rely on getting on it again.
I think he'd like to be low on it, not running into the 8-ball. Because that 8-ball seems like it passes the 7 into the bottom left corner pocket.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Arya, if he did have the other angle, it wouldn't be a bad thing to run into the 6 or the 8, just to open it up. He does have the 9. He'd be unlucky not to finish on the 9 after making the 14. I know it's always a little bit of a lottery when you go into balls, but you have to be very, very unlucky. And might still have a shot at the 10 as well. If not, well, he could avoid it anyway. So, no problem. Just would have opened up the 8-ball a little bit more.
Yeah, well, from this camera angle, that 8-ball is pretty tight. Not so convinced now that it passes the 7.
No, I'm
That
not.
does become a problem.
Maybe draw into it here.
The 7 or the 8?
Either. Preferably the 8, but he's hit the other 2 and he's opened it up perfectly. But now, of course, he's got to make this difficult 10-ball down the rail. Is it the 10 or the 14? I can't quite tell.
The 10. The 10. You can
Yeah,
draw
the
this
10,
one.
yeah.
The scratch is not on. That 4 is in the way. So you can really focus on the pot here. There you go.
Yeah, good shot.
We said a must-win rack, and, well, it's looking like it. Needs to apply himself on this shot, of course. Stay still on the shot.
Yeah, I just want to, when this 8-ball goes in, I just want to talk a little bit more about staying still on the shot. Yeah, nicely done. So reduces the gap to 2. But of course, yeah, going back to what I wanted to say about, you know, we always say stay still on the shot, stay still on the shot. But one of the most important shots is where people move all over the place. Well, in my eyes, you know, you've got to be as accurate on hitting a part of a ball when you break as you need to be when you're making a ball, when you're potting a ball. So that's why I kind of like staying still on the shot, because it's just another accurate shot you're trying to play. You're just not trying to make a ball, but you're trying to hit a certain part of the ball. See, now he's come off that to the side, and I think he was a bit quick on the stroke there, if we get to see a replay.
Yeah, he can be pretty quick on the stroke. That's the thing with him. That is innate with his unique cue action. So with certain players, Mark, you feel like if they make a slight adjustment, it would really enhance their overall level. And some other styles, you think, well, surely when you make that adjustment, that's going to completely overrule your entire style. So they just have to live and die by the sword, more to speak.
Oh,
What a
nice
lovely
shot.
shot. Didn't
Deserves
hesitate
to
to solve
be.
the problems.
No, and he deserves to have an angle here as well. That was a nice attacking, intelligent shot he's played there. He does have an angle. Only a slight one, but gets him away from the rail. Can play the 10 now. I started off in snooker, and although I've made century breaks, I only ever made 19 in my whole career, where you've got players doing that in a day. The top pros nowadays. But I became obsessed with technique and follow through and pause and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of ruined my game. I was a natural player, but I wasn't good enough to get through or to have any real success in the game because I wasn't consistent. And of course, consistency comes from good technique, but you can become obsessed with it like I was.
Yeah, but tell you what though, what you said, 19 centuries?
Yeah.
And that's not bad at all. It's probably a lot of players would, sign for that. But, it's the better you get, of course, the goalpost movers.
Yeah, and the better you get, the harder it is to improve, of course. But this has been a great rack from the Norwegian. He's right back in this now at 3-2. And against the break that was of Silenceves. Little sneak preview of table 2 for you. Kutkus at the table. Local lady from Turkey. 2-1 down at the moment to Veselovska. Back to this one. This is getting rather interesting. Yakubis Silenceves with his second break, and he's gone very close with a cue ball again. Scratched on the previous break. Got away with it. Can't be too disappointed that he didn't make a ball there, though. Caught them horribly.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is probably going to sound harsh, but when we say cut out the silly errors, at this level, we also mean not have a dry break or a scratch on the break. Because that's always asking for trouble, particularly in 8-ball.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be that inaccurate on a pot and get angry at not making it, would you? You've just completely misjudged the angle, or you've moved on the ball, or whatever you've done, you've missed it. It's just like I was saying earlier on, it's like you've missed a pot, and to be that far off, it's quite some distance as well.
Well, Mark, I must admit I did not see this 14 ball combination.
No, I thought he was just playing safe, to be honest. That's what I thought he was doing. Now, do you attack here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think... can we see the table? He can pot the 5 with the 9 if he wants to. But, I mean, he doesn't have to take on a long pot. He can even go for the 4 into the side pocket. To me, the solids are sitting a bit easier.
Yeah, has to take the 4. Played it well. Now we'll play the combo.
He's going to play a two-way shot here. He's going to play the combo. He will calculate the potential for the 1 dropping and have a look at his cue ball. Make sure he leave himself a shot on the 2. He needs to go past the middle pocket for him to be able to see the 7 into the opposite middle pocket.
I'm very impressed with this young man on his second appearance, or the second time I've seen him. He had a bit of a tough game in his first appearance on the TV table, but this is much better, and growing with confidence as well. I like his rhythm around the table. I think he does just have that slight flaw in his action where he's not always consistent with the pre-shot routine. Sometimes just snatches the odd shot. He's a little bit quick on the delivery, but certainly huge talent. Reads the game very well. Plays nice little nudges here and there.
Yeah, he's very much a touch and feel player, and like you said, most of the touch and feel players, they have some sort of a flaw in their, mechanics, but they make up for it with all the other departments of the game.
Yeah, certainly likes to get on with it, doesn't he?
You want a nice repetitive cue action? Have a look at Sean Murphy, Robertson.
Yeah, even, in pool you've got Fedor Gorst, who he's got quite a long cue action, but he's very, very consistent with what he does. Same with Joshua Filler, but a much shorter cue action. But the secret is to do the same every time, because then you get that feel, don't you, of the shot. You know exactly how you're hitting the ball, so you know exactly how you've got to hit the ball, and you can do that on a consistent basis, so you're always going to get better control of the cue ball because you're cueing the same.
Well, Kachi as well, excellent ball striker.
Yeah, Ko Ping Chung, one of my favourites as well. Woo Kun Lin, beautiful cue action. There's a few of them around, and one thing you'll notice about them, they're all top players. Good break there. Didn't mean that nudge, but it's worked out okay. Can take the 9.
talking about nudges, do you think you'll have to nudge into the 8 and a 10 eventually?
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 balls close to it, hasn't he? He could use the 5 to do it while staying on the other solid. Be interesting actually to see the way he goes about this 5 and 7, won't it? Oh, he wanted an angle, and he's got one, and it looks pretty good, doesn't it, to get on this 5 ball off the side rail with a bit of left-hand spin. Just leave himself an angle. I mean, doesn't have to go into it. Can oh, has he landed on it? Can he run round the back of it? He obviously can. Could play the cannon off the 7. That's another possibility.
He's landed very awkward on the 5.
Oh, he's gone way too far.
Now, if the 8 does not go into the bottom right, he's got no pathway to winning this rack.
He's overhit that by about 10 inches. He wanted an angle going the other way. Well, he does go in the bottom right. Just wondering if a referee will come or not. Hasn't been asked or beckoned. Did well.
Yeah, did very well. Didn't look as straightforward as he made it look, so kudos to him. If he can hold his serve here, we'll have a match on our hands.
Coming to the end of day 2, which is the halfway stage. More to come, of course, today. But at the end of day 2, just 2 days to go. It's been a long European Championships and then straight into the Turkey Open. Then we've got about 15 days until the next Predator event. There's that Q-tip again, look, reaching the side pockets.
To no avail.
Yeah.
That is disappointing from his point of view. Has to sit there and hope he'll get a chance in this rack. It's not looking likely though.
Yeah, where does he start though, Ardia? That's the question.
Where does he start? That's a good question. Well, he's not looked up table, he's looking down, so I'm just wondering if he's already...
14 maybe.
Yeah, I think he's already trying to see a pathway for the stripes like you've just mentioned. So he's taken on the 14. Pretty straightforward shot. Doesn't have to do a lot with his cue ball, of course. Can play the stop shot here for the 11. But needs to make the
Came
pot.
across that.
Wow. That is a
Wow.
unforced error, alright.
Yeah, how costly is that going to be? What's going through that mind now? You know, players obviously miss a shot for one reason or another. Arya, it's rarely because they don't know the angle, especially on a straight-in shot. So it can only be down to cueing, can't it? Getting a little bit of unwanted spin on the ball, maybe going across the line, maybe a little bit of a quick stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if you've read the book Atomic Habits, there's a line in that where I absolutely love, and science-based, basically it just says, under pressure we never rise to the occasion, we fall back on our highest form of preparation.
Say that one more time for me.
Under pressure we never rise to the occasion, we always fall back on our highest form of preparation. So you always fall back on your highest form of preparation, and that includes your technique, your mechanics. And if that is slightly off, like we are both mentioning, that can let you down on certain shots.
See, I thought that was a little bit snatchy, trying to get a little bit more power in it. He's hit from the back rather than you know, gaining speed through the ball, accelerating through the ball. All the power came from the back and then to the vertical, and then it went wrong. It was just too quick. I don't want to bang on about the same thing all the time, you know, but when they've missed a shot, it has more often than not been because of that. Certainly not because they don't know the angle.
Straight away, trying to get rid of the 13 ball there, closest to the rail. He's landed absolutely perfect on it. Just little off straight, can punch the cue ball on and off the side rail. Both players have had 2 chances each in this rack alone, which is pretty rare in 8-ball at this level. It's getting a bit messy, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, just I think the pressure's on now. I think he's lost a little bit of confidence, Silancheves. Had a good lead, but let it slip. You also notice his elbow is a little bit inwards also, not textbook. I'm not saying you can't play good like that, it's very much a personal thing.
Yeah, you remember, I'm sure, the name Joe Swill.
Yeah. And more recent in pool, Mohammed Sufi really exaggerated a little bit, the same as Joe Swale, great Irish player. Don't think he ever really reached his true potential, Joe Swale. But Jakubis has opened up that 2-rack lead again, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, well, he's had more time at the table compared to his opponent, and that's reflecting in the score line.
There's the day's results from day 2. Yeah, Mieszko Fortunski missed about 3 balls in his performance, including 2 8-balls, which were rather surprising, but he got away with it. I think his opponent, Karsten Schroeter, was just a little bit nervous. First time I've seen him on the TV table. Oof, he's got away with that. Hit them pretty straight. The cue ball coming straight back, but then getting kicked. But didn't really control the cue ball. It was getting kicked around. But this is to get on the hill, Ardia.
Yeah, crucial point in the match, this.
Oh, this is a awful shot to have to play. Just off straight to the side pocket, out of the jaws of the corner pocket, digging down. He's psyching himself up for this one. Yeah, not surprised he missed that one, to be honest. Wasn't easy. Table still open. Can open up the 1 ball here if he needs to. No, he doesn't have to. Can draw onto it, actually.
He lost his cue ball. What has he played there?
Wow, I don't know. He's overhit that by miles.
The smile on his face is telling it all, isn't it? Oh, he's slightly fortunate, actually, because I thought he was hampered with his cueing, but he's clearly not, so he can get through to the middle of the cue ball. That does help. I'll tell you what, though, that might have just been that particular shot, but I feel like that cue is pretty on a shorter side for his length.
What is great is to see 2 youngsters battling it out on a big stage. They're notoriously difficult to win Euro Tours. There's lots of great players that go through their career without ever winning one. 7,500 to the winner.
Yeah, and that's essentially for 3 days' work, so it's not a bad figure, is it?
Almost as much as we earn.
Yeah, per match.
It's going to cost him this rack. That shot into the side that he played. Did have a safety available. Could have played a safe on the 14. Decided to go aggressive on the 1 ball Silencheves. But he never got another shot. And it's now just 1 rack in it. And don't be surprised if it goes all the way.
No, exactly. And you know, whatever happens in the worst case scenario, Robin Hagen will have a chance to make this 6-all.
As you can see, the pole 4-2 up on the local lady from Turkey. Now, he's got very awkward style, hasn't he? Ever since I noticed his jutting in elbow, he hasn't had a decent break. But that was okay. Didn't hit them perfect, but made a ball. That's all you want. What do you like here, Arya?
Well, if you can just see the table once again. Yeah, I would go for the stripes, I believe. The opening shot is easier, as well as, you know, that 9 and the 13, I believe, below the 8 ball. All do pot into the bottom right corner pocket.
Yeah, it's good that he's taking a little bit of time here. This is a moment in the match that's critical. If he can win this rack, he will be on the hill.
You know what? You did tell us you made 20 centuries, but you never told us what your highest was.
My highest was 132. It was a total clearance. I've never had a 147. They weren't kind of the thing back when I used to play. You know, no one had ever made one on TV. It was like, kind of like running the 4-minute mile. You never really believed it was possible until you saw it, until it happened. Roger Bannister was the first man to run a 4-minute mile, and after that everyone started doing it. And it's the same with Davis when he made the first ever maximum on TV in the Larder Classic in '85. I remember it well. The commentator actually ruined it because, or the person doing the introduction actually to the frame said, "Watch out for a bit of TV history here." So you kind of knew it had happened before it did happen. It wasn't live. There wasn't as much live TV back then. But the announcer kind of ruined it for me because, you know, you knew he was going to make it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute scenes that was.
Yeah, and the poor guy won a Lada car. Next person that made one won 100,000 or 147,000, I believe it was.
Oh, this is tight, Mark. It goes, but I mean, how do you like these?
Yeah, but he's not been potting what I would say cleanly all night. Fine here though, good shot. So now he is on the hill, but Robin Haag will have 2 breaks to prevent him from winning this match. Remember, it's a loser round 4 match, so The loser is out. No more chances. So here we go. Make or break. My mum always said, one day, Mark, hopefully your name will be up in lights. There it is. Along with Arya Sarabi, your commentators. Hope we haven't been too harsh. Just, I do like to talk about technique and stuff like that. And Arya always gets me at it. He asks me these probing questions. He knows I'm going to answer them, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm the same, Mark. Look, I have a snooker background, so I'm also very keen on mechanics. And it's not just because of my snooker background. I just love sports and reading about sports, you know, the biggest professionals, the best. I'll give an example. Michael Jordan, arguably one of the most feared athletes of all time. When he did the warm-up, he did the most simple chest passes. And that is literally considered a basic technique. But that's, you know, it's these top pros, they make the easy stuff look so innocuous that it never goes wrong.
Yeah, that's why they make it look easy, isn't it? All those hours of practice that go into the most simple things. Well, that was a little bit... It was very close to a double hit, that. Very difficult shot to do, what he just played, to get follow through when you're so close to a ball. So kudos to him. Oh, that's a beautiful shot as well. Lovely little tickle into the 14. Opens everything up.
Now the next shot, positional side of this shot becomes very important. Needs an angle here, and I think he's managed to do it. As you can see, there's a lot of traffic in his way. He needs to send his cue ball all across the table. Now, looking from this image, you tend to think the right side, in between the gap of the 5 and the 1, would be ideal, but it's not without danger.
He's got to come in and out of the corner in between the 6 and the 7. That's going to be the target. You've only got to be a quarter of a tip high or low. Well, he was actually straight enough to draw straight back. He's caught the 7. But I think he's been... Has he been a little bit fortunate? I don't think he has. Just looking at a safety shot here now. Well, he'd be really disappointed.
He's going for the 9 ball and he's trying. Well, he's looked at the option and, well, that's asking for a lot. He's trying to put the brakes on the cue ball by hitting and running into the 1 here. Have a look at this. He's cutting this 9 ball in. And he did came around to see if that angle was on to run into the 1. Well, that was really
good
close.
Call. It was really close and well spotted. That's why you're paid the big bucks, side up.
Yeah, 7.5 grand per match.
Rupees, is that? Well, chance to win it here now for Jakubas. Got so close, didn't he, with that 9 ball? It was a really difficult shot. He played it to perfection almost. Just slightly off the putting angle.
I ask you this, Mark. Is it unfair to say he would be devastated if he doesn't finish it from this visit?
Yeah, it's just all about getting the right side of the 7 here, which he has. And now it should be elementary, my dear Watson. Good angle on the blue 2. Can go anywhere he wants with the cue ball. In between the 1 and the 4 would be nice. Give him a choice of either.
It's not per se played that to perfection, has he?
No, overhit it slightly. You know, and all you have to do is pot that 2 ball just a little bit thinner than you intend to, and you add some inches to the cue ball. Should still be okay though. Can draw across, back over. Is there more drama? We're about to find out.
No is the answer.
This passes. Yeah, no is the answer. 4 ball flies past the 8. So these last 2 balls for a nice win to go through to winners qualification. And Robin Haag Pettersson is going to be disappointed and be out. In it goes. Pretty good performance. I thought he started very, very well, Jakubas Silancheves, and he certainly ended well also. Pretty good match overall. Expected it to be maybe a little bit closer, but there it is. That's all from me today. Thank you so much to Arya Sarabi for joining me in the booth for this one. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. I'm back tomorrow. From Arya and myself, Mark White. Good night.